All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6:30, August 5th, 2024. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're here at the City Hall Council Chambers at 101 South Main Street in Joshua, Texas. We don't have anybody on Zoom or online. Okay, all right. Then we'll go ahead and jump on into it, and I will announce that we do have a quorum and call the meeting to order. And we'll move on to the Citizens Forum. The Planning and Zoning Commission invites citizens to speak on any topic. However, unless that item is specifically noted on the agenda, the Planning and Zoning Commission is required under the Texas Open Meeting Act to limit its response to responding with a statement of specific factual information, reciting the city's existing policy, or directing that person making the inquiry to visit with city staff about the issue. No commission deliberation is permitted, and each person will have 3 minutes to speak. And nobody signed up, but would anybody like to speak during the forum tonight? All right, and we will move on to the regular agenda, action letter C. And the first thing on there is to discuss considering the possible action on the July 1st, 2024 meeting minutes. And those are on the packet. Did everybody have a chance to review those?
Yes.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Okay. Do you have a
I'll
motion? Second. Okay. All those in favor? Very good. Number 2, this is discuss and recommend possible amendments to the food truck ordinance to the city council. Aaron?
Some of the amendments to consider are not allowing food trucks in the Heritage Overlay District. And also making an exception to allow food trucks during a city chamber event. Down in the Heritage Overlay District, the Heritage Preservation Board has recommended that the Planning and Zoning Board approve the amendments as mentioned above at the last July 11th meeting. So I've attached the actual food truck ordinance that we just approved in December of last year. And I guess some of the main concerns of some of the business owners have been that they feel that they've taken or have given their time and effort to invest in these brick and mortar buildings, and so they feel like the having the food trucks come down here are just basically taken away from their potential income. So that was the main argument that was given during the Heritage Preservation Board meeting.
Did everybody have a chance to see that? So basically, the only recommendations to this change, according from the Heritage, is to not allow the food trucks within the Heritage. And if you pull up the Heritage Overlay District, which is, did everybody see the map where that includes? Okay, it was attached to the ordinance, isn't it? The map,
No.
the Heritage.
Yeah, it's mainly just gonna be this area we're in now,
Yeah.
and then a couple more blocks.
22nd Street and Cedar Crest.
Now, I'm gonna speak that, this is really a bad idea to limit it. Business breeds business in such. So you mentioned that there's the business owners that have kind of brought this forward, not necessarily people, residents inside the Heritage Overlay District. From what I've seen in the past few months, very, very little usage of anybody doing it, but it's been just ones and twos. And they followed the directions, I would believe, right? They followed the rules to be able to have a food truck there. But for us to be able to say no food trucks in the Heritage, except when we want it, right, is not fair to the businessman. The person that has the food truck, right? Which I think the only food truck I've seen has been one that has another business in the area, and such. I don't think there should be an opposition of if the business allows them, based off our ordinance, the business has to authorize them to park there, and then they have to meet the other criteria and such there. And if the business is letting them park there, then that's fine. I don't see why we would limit that or ban it, just, on a presumption that it's taking away business. It's still doing business and such. The city doesn't generate revenue on, inside, they do on a bar, an alcohol tax. Other than that, their food and so forth. So it's the same, not a whole lot of difference there and stuff. I'm opposed. I think allowing them to continue to operate is healthy for us. If I remember, it wasn't that long ago, this city wanted to put a food truck park there. And it's still even more recent history. They tried to kind of look at ideas. So this is not abnormal, but when the city itself was wanting to do it and it just didn't come to fruition, but yet now because a couple local owners, I get it, and I filled with them, but you put out the best product, you're gonna have all the people come see you. If you're a brick and mortar, or if you're a food truck, either way, that's what you're gonna get and such. So whoever does the best job is gonna get the business. If a food truck's doing bad business, it ain't gonna be there long. Same thing with the brick and mortar. They're gonna be doing bad business.
Well, a couple things to remember too is the ordinance only allows very limited seating outside, and food trucks are considered temporary.
Yeah.
So for someone wanted to bring a food truck down here permanently would require a lot more restrictions and technically wouldn't fall in the food truck. They probably have to they would have to do a lot more working with the city to accommodate that if they're gonna leave a food truck there permanently. So that being said, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has some input. I'd like to hear what everybody else thinks about this before you make a entertained motion, but yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I've read through those regulations on food trucks. They are very restrictive. Having to have a public restroom, having to have their own water source, all of this. It's not something that's just gonna pull up there and start selling, stuff out of a truck. The perfect example of, I think, the event that was held, Friday night, at the wine place, that would not have allowed a food truck if this was, passed. Whether or not they had one, I don't know. I wasn't there. But if they had wanted one, they're not a main food vendor. If they had wanted to have a food truck there, why shouldn't they? 72 hours, I believe, is all one of those things can be parked, and it has to have a sponsoring business. And if the businesses down through there don't want one, don't sponsor one. But I think it's bad for us to say, like y'all said, you can do it if we want you to do it, but if we don't want you to do it, you can't do it. I think that gets to a very subjective rule, and I don't think it's that big a problem now.
Well, and the insult to injury per se, I really had a tough time with the idea of, we're gonna ban it, but yet not for when the chamber or special event, right? I mean, it's just, then you're getting to pick and choose, and I mean, if you can do that, you might as well just allow them to have it. And that's kind of how I feel about it.
Would like to also point out that I don't really think the downtown master plan that was approved back in 2017, I believe. I don't think they had the food truck plan or the food trucks part of the master plan. So
The property, it got redeveloped, right? But, correct, it was a come and go because they couldn't make it happen. They didn't have the funding, they didn't wanna pay what it would take to do it and so forth. So that's how that took place. And that's why it disappeared, because the city didn't want to put the money into it, even though it was the city's idea. I was on council when that took place, so I'm pretty clear as to when that happened. I wasn't really 100% for or against or anything. It was just part of the process that was going on at the time. So it wasn't too unusual and stuff. So even I think even as of recent history, they were even, word on the street, they were looking into more ideas how to, because all it does is bring more people down here and such. If you can get, right now, there's no retail in that strip yet, right? And so forth. So if you're able to get, one or two more, established, areas to bring people into it, you can bring in one or two little retail, a boutique or this or that, who knows, right? Just whatever they do. But right now, food alone is not gonna just, drive the whole time and so forth. They need to diversify and that, bringing food trucks are just, all it does is bring, and it ain't bringing a lot, it's just bringing a little bit more traffic and such. And that's, I'm a proponent. I think we bring in more traffic.
Well, and something else to consider as well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you for your points. Before we entertain a motion or go to vote, something else is too, is this something we can always revisit this ordinance and see? Cause I mean, I definitely agree that we still need to support our downtown businesses. I mean, they have put in a lot of money and effort and clearly we want them to be profitable and continue to grow in downtown, but also limiting other future, we have to find that happy medium. So if we want to relook at this ordinance, come up with our ideas, that's something that we could bring to the agenda for next month. Or if everybody's happy with saying yes or no, how it's labeled now, but those are the options. So whatever we decide tonight, we could always bring this up and then we could ask this to be brought up and revisited. If we want to consider putting food trucks in a certain area in the heritage or just allowing them wherever, or
I think the ordinance already lays it out. And the ordinance tells them where they, it's up to the owner.
Has to be commercial platted.
Commercial zone.
Yeah.
And so forth. The ordinance is pretty thorough.
no, it is.
And it lines out where, what they can do. And that's, we don't have people rushing to do this and such. So
Right,
I don't,
right.
I think it's, to be honest with you, I think it's, it's ones and twos out there that are, louder than others, but I think for the, my opinion, I think for the community, I think it's better just to continue to allow them. Which they've already been allowed and they aren't parking there every day, so it's not.
Yeah, I personally don't ever remember seeing a food truck that wasn't tied around a special event, and it's usually ice cream or snow cones or something like that when I have seen them. My question is it something that recurs on a routine or regular basis each month, or is this something that just
I mean-
happens periodically?
How many permits are applied for on a monthly basis?
We've only had one so far.
Any other thoughts or discussion? Okay,
I'll make a motion, we decline the amendment.
I'll second.
okay. I do have a motion and a second. All those in favor to not accept the changes to the ordinance? Okay. All right. Number 3, moving on to receive the monthly development service update.
Yes, so, I believe Whataburger, or not Whataburger, I'm sorry, Taco Bell should be starting either at the end of this week or maybe early next week. They have had their plans approved, from CHESA. So they've already paid for their permit with us, so they're good with us, so they should be starting here within the next week or so, so.
Very good.
We'll start seeing some dirt move. Whataburger, we have received the application, we just haven't received payment, but, we've been in contact with them, last Friday, I believe. And so they, I think they're planning to pay online, as soon as possible. So that should be kicking off pretty soon also with the replat, which I'll bring it to y'all in the site plan review. So that should be started. fairly soon
Fantastic.
also. And that's about it. Everything else is still kind of slow.
Okay.
Any home developments or anything or nothing? Just all what's already on the books.
I should be bringing in Joshua Meadows next month for their preliminary plat. Phase 4, that's gonna be their last phase.
I should say that's the last phase out by the high school, correct?
That leads, or this will actually be touching County Road 705.
Yeah, this will be the far side. Far side. of it. Whatever happened to that one over there off of the stadium? Just past the R. Horton Val's Roost or?
Oh, yes, so I believe another engineering firm has taken over, but they haven't submitted.
Is that what they held it up, was the engineering part of it?
Yes.
And what about the development we struggled with last year out west of town? That 49 acres.
Oh, that one is still, they're still trying to find a buyer,
Okay.
so.
Anything else or anything for next month's meeting?
Nothing I want.
We'll adjourn at 6:45.
He lasted.
Yeah, thank you.
a minute.